All right, everybody. So this is going to be the second, what I call this, the second project, the second episode, the second video for you guys for this beat tutorial, beat mixing tutorial pack. This is the second video for diving into some of my favorite projects, recent 2018 projects. So this is another one of, this one might not take as long as the other one did because now we have the format down and now you understand what we're doing with this. And then after this video, we're going to do, in the other folder, there's going to be 2 videos for you to watch that are me mixing straight from start to finish. Some beat mix orders. So on this one, we're going to do the same thing as that first one you should have just watched first. And it's going to be going through this beat, letting you hear it, letting you see what I use to mix it, and hear the sounds with and without, so you can get kind of what to be familiar with the plugins that I use a lot. So let's go ahead and just listen to this beat right now, let you hear it. And this is like probably like my 5th new beat or 6th or 7th or something like that. It's from the last like month or so.
Oh, let that bass drop.
All right, everybody. So this is going to be a perfect example yet again of not doing too much, not doing too little. Everything in here is needed. It's making a huge difference. It's 100% where it's at. So let's go ahead and go through each sound and what I have on each sound, what I used. First up is this main pattern, this main sound. Only thing on here is the EQ. It already sounds good. It didn't need much. Took out some of the low end, boosted some of the mids, boosted some of the highs to give it more of a polished crystal type sound like I've been saying, but I'll let you hear this with and without right now. So you can see it has much more of a bassier type of sound with this EQ off, and also it's not as polished on the high end. So that's what we did with that sound. The next sound is the next main instrument in this beat that comes in the hooks and at the end of the verse. And this is also a nice little sound that also only really has an EQ on it. I will let you hear that now as well. I just took out some lows on this one. I didn't do too much with this one. So you should be able to hear the subtle little bassy difference in that. It didn't need much, and it's kind of more of a background pad type sound anyway. So, but it makes a difference. If I tried taking that all the way out, and as you see, it only pops up in this beat 2, 4, 6, 7 different times. once in each hook, once at the end of the verses, but it's needed. It does a nice little thing, which we'll get into. This right here, what is this? The cymbal or something? I'm not sure what this is, but the only thing we're about to find out, I think it's the crash. Only thing I did on this was take out a lot of the low end. See, this is a prime example of one that honestly I can't even hear the difference. There's no difference for real in this being off and on, but still I knew that I could see some visually see some low end frequencies that I wasn't able, because this will show them to you too if you take this off. I wasn't able to hear them, but I was able to see them. So I was like, if I can't hear them anyway, I might as well, like I said, take them out, because they will layer up and layer up with every other sound and every other track out in the beat. And when they add up, that's something that you'll be able to hear, but you won't realize what it's from or what the hell the issue is and why it's so muddy or why the kick is sounding like it's being clashed with something. Because when you listen to each one of the tracks, you're not hearing anything really. But it's like I said, it's those. Picture this layered up with the other 16, 15 tracks, whatever, in your beat, and they layer up to something that you can hear. So I was like, let me go ahead and get rid of them. This is a ride. It's just a layer of the cymbal, but I did a couple different things to this one. So on this one, I EQ'd it, took some lows out, and actually rode some of the lows and the super lows all the way out. A nice little drop. Because just to take, like I said, in some sounds you're going to want to take polish off. Some sounds aren't, every sound can't sound super polished and super like a ringy high frequency type to it. It can't sound super clean and high like that because your whole beat will sound like that. It has to have balance. So this one, I needed to scoop some of the high out to give it a little duller sound. And I used the Trans-X wide plugin that we've already talked about, which made this cymbal more punchy. To punch through the mix more, and as I've showed you, the sound shifter pitch stereo plugin, which I used to actually pitch it up one semitone because it was off key, and I just dragged this wave file or this wave sample into the beat. So let's go ahead and hear the before and after on that. So that's that one. Just a ride. It's just a ride to layer with the cymbal, so it's as one. It sounds as one. It's like I just kind of made my custom little cymbal. This right here, this is the lead. Is this from what did I use? Vibe Pro VST, I believe. I used right. Yes, indeed. I use our own IndustryKits.com Vibe Pro VST instrument. I use this pluck called Craze. And this is just one, like we said in the other video, everything doesn't have to, every sound you use doesn't have to be throughout the whole beat. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to do that, because nowadays in 2018, you can have a dope sound, like this is a dope preset, and it could just have like in this beat, literally all it does is in the beginning of the hook and in the middle of the hook, it goes, when the beat drops, it's like dun, dun, then this sound comes in like doo-doo, doo-doo, as a little delay. That's it. But they can tell from that this is probably the hook, and it builds up. It gives it more of a build. It gives it more of some energy. So that I'll let you hear that now with and without effects. And then once at the end of this, we'll go through the whole beat and mute some of the things like we did in the last one, and you'll see how much of a difference these things make. All right, and now here is another sound. This one's interesting. This is a layer. This is actually a layer sound that I used, duplicated, and this one has this panning, the pancake plugin that I show you guys that I use a lot. to give it a little movement, to give it a little move. It's got the filter on here, and this is something different you guys haven't seen yet as far as from these tutorials and me. I took a lot of the low out and a lot of the high. I took almost damn near all the low and all the high, but I left some good sweet spot in the middle and boosted it. And that was simply because I used an effect plugin that I like to use a lot, or I don't use it a lot, but whenever I'm thinking that it's the only thing is it takes so long to load up and it crashes sometimes. It better not, let me knock on wood, mess up this damn video recording. I'll tell you what. But it is, when it can finally load up, let's give it a second. It's ridiculous, man. Is it not gonna load up? Seriously? What? Yeah, right. Man, don't tell me it just crashed at this fucking project. I'm gonna be pissed. What? Okay, so apparently you can't see it. It doesn't want to pop up. But I'm not gonna keep messing with it because it can crash this Studio One and I don't want to mess with it. But it's called Movement. And it's by Output. It's a really nice effect plugin. I don't know if I need to update it or what though, but they need to get this shit right. I think they have updated it and I haven't updated it or something. I don't know. But it's a good plugin that you can slap on sounds, and it has a hell of like a ton of different presets that you can use that are just random effects that'll make a sound choppy or sound spacey, or it'll just take a sound and completely change it. And that's what I used this effect on this sound to give the hook, because I needed to give the hook more of a feel. So let me just play it before and after effects, and you'll see what I mean. So the sound in general sounded good the way it was, but I just was like, with the whole beat playing with it like that, I'll take the effects off when we do the final thing at the end, but it was like, nah, like this sound isn't, the pattern, it was in the right key and everything, but I was like, man, I need to change this into something different. So that's when I throw Movement. It's called Movement, even though we can't pull it up because it's acting retarded. All right, so this next is the trap clap. I did a few different things on this. It's the main clap for the beat. I needed it to stand out a lot and punch through the mix. So to do that, I put the sound, not the sound shifter. I put the Trans-X on here, as you can see. I put the sound shifter on here because, excuse me, now this is one thing too. For mixing, you need to make sure mostly all of your sounds and drums are all in the same key and in the same like section, at least in the same, they sound right. You know what I mean? And that also goes for your snare and your clap. And a lot of producers don't realize that. And they'll just take a clap, you know, a nice clap sample from a nice drum kit and just slap it in every beat. And a lot of them don't realize that you actually need to pitch that clap or that snare up or down usually to match your beat. And also, a lot of people can get that, but a lot of people even more so much don't get that you might not need to pitch the clap fully up or down, but you'll, like I did in the last beat where I'd use these synths to drag up or down, I think it was the tag and another sound or a few different things. That's what I had to do here too. This one, if I would have pitched it up one or two, up or down one, it would have been too much. It was this sample was it was the right key, but it was still just some synths off. Like, and it's weird that it'll be like that sometimes, but that's when it all comes in. That's when your ear comes into play. Like, at least with me, I know there's plugins out there that kind of help with that, but I don't really use any of that. I just go by ear because I feel like I've always went by ear and trained my ear for that because I feel like that was just more natural and that would give me more of a musical, natural sound as opposed to, you know, because some things I'm sure are off, like in some of my beats a little bit or whatever, but I like that because I hear that sounds good. You know what I mean? But if I was one of the people that strictly went by the rules and was like, no, this is slightly off key and it doesn't sound, you know, and even though it sounds good, you got to put it on key, then that's kind of taken away from, you know, the extra little sauce that you're putting on there. But this one I could hear, it just didn't sound right. So I threw this on here and I moved the sense up, and it made it fit in there nice. Even though it's a minute little difference, it made it way better. So I'll play this clap with and without effects, but it's just a clap. You'll really hear the difference as well when the beat's played in full, but that's that. And then I made a copy of it, and it's the exact same clap, but at the end of the verse, you guys heard that it came a little breakdown and then a big reverb clap. So this one has all of the same stuff on it. It's got the sound shifter, it's got the pitchy Trans-X for the pitching, it's got the EQ, it's the same, but then it's also got a reverb on it, a nice size little reverb. Since I duplicated it, you see that's one trick that I do a lot. I just went and I just hit, you know, duplicate this track with plugins and all, then delete all the claps that you're not using and just keep that one, you know what I mean, that's going to be the reverb, and slap some reverb on that one. So that's that. The kick here is the same as last time. It's already one of my pre-kicks. So this one is oh, I just used a straight up wave for this one, but this is another one. And on here, only thing I did was pitch it down, or is that down? Yeah, down one whole semitone, because also that's another thing. Sometimes you producers don't also realize that a lot of the times it's fine if you just straight up use a nice kick sample and throw it in a beat, but a lot of the times you're gonna need to pitch that kick up or down as well, maybe one or maybe two, it depends on the beat or whatever style and everything. But the kick also, the tone, the pitch of the kick also needs to match and sound right. And so if you're working on a beat, just try to pitch your kick up or down. You know what I mean? One. You know what I mean? And see if it's like, oh wait, that shit sounds harder like that. That's probably because it's not on the right key in the first place, and you didn't really realize it yet. Do the same thing with snares and claps. And so there's another little tip. Now, moving to the 808. I used a little 808 sample of mine, a little wave, and only thing I had to do on this, because this is also an 808 already from another beat, but I still needed to mix it and still needed to make it fit this beat better. But this is a SSO Out My Way 808, so this is a beat that I made called 808, whatever. So this is what I have on here though. The compressor to sidechain the 808, and even though this 808 has a little premix, I needed it to be a little more beefy, and the same thing that we did in that last one, bam, I threw this saucy distortion on there, but you see that in the last video I said I used different things depending on the beat. This one sounded better actually in bass 808 mode and cranked up a little bit higher. I'll play this right now with and without that. So you can see that I have figured ways to make that distortion plugin make a big difference with the 808s, and it's amazing. Definitely want to pick that up if you don't have it. It's on industrykits.com. It's on our site. You also get a nice filter plugin as well, and it's cheap. The bundle's really cheap. So this is a little hitter snare in the back. As you can see, there's nothing on that. This right here is, I don't know what this is. I'm guessing this is, let me see. Let's find out. But the only thing on here is a sound shifter, so it just pitches it up. So that's a hi-hat loop. Then we got some other type of, I think this is a percussive loop or another hi-hat loop, but this one I did a lot more with. So that one was a backup one. This one, you can see I took a lot of the lows out, and I also rolled down some of the highs to make it a little duller, threw some reverb on it, and have it moving with the pancake, and we actually have it moving a nice amount of speed. It's actually moving around pretty quick. But as you can see too, I turned the mix down to 85%, which means that it's not going 100% to the left and right. It's kind of going like 85%. So now, let me play it before and after. Okay, so it's a little hi-hat. This right here is another sound, but there's nothing on this. This is a fill. This is that doom 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 doom. Nothing on that. What is this? This is, I don't know, percussive sound or something, but there's nothing on that either. This is my tag, but as you can see, it's the same thing. I already explained my vocal tag chain. My tag chain actually got better from this, so you can see there's not as much on this one. Then this other sound that's in the breakdown in the last part of the verse, it has nothing on it, but it's just actually this is something. Why is it saying that it's nothing? Oh, okay. So like I said, movement messes up all the time. So sometimes I use it and then I just export it to a wave, to then no longer have to use that, you know what I mean, that plugin anymore, so it doesn't crash nothing. So this is actually the main sound, which is up top. That's why it says main with effects right here. If you see main WFX, that's what that channel's called. That's another thing that I'll do a lot. Say you need, you know, that you don't want to add more sounds to the beat because you want to keep it simple and keep it nice and not clutter it, but you need to have drops and you need to have like how you gonna do a transition. I literally just took the main sound, duplicated the track, and put the movement plugin on it to give it an effect sound, and it switches it up. It makes it sound completely different. And then I also played that little pad sound with it, and that's how we got the end of the verse rolling into the hook. So I'll play that. I can't play it with actually I can. I'll let you hear what this sounds like with the effect, with the movement on it, and then I'll play the regular sound, which is because that's what it was before. So as you can hear, the effect that I used on that for the breakdown was like a phase was on it, because there's multi layers to the plugin as well. The movement plugin, when you look it up, there's like a phase layer to it. It's also messing with the volume a little bit, and then also it kind of gave it more of an airy reverb-ish type sound. And then I layered that with this actual pad sound right here, and that's what made the breakdown. See, like if I play both together. It gave it a nice warm, you know, breakdown, rolling off into the hook and bringing everything back together. So that's this beat. Now what I want to do is play it, and just like last time, watch and see when I take some of these things away how much of a difference it makes. You know what I mean? Like to get another key example of not too much, not too much, not too little. But also after this, we're going to dive into the main thing of this whole tutorial package, which is also watching me mix from start to finish on some fellow producers' beat mix orders that they put into me, or put into me. You know what I'm trying to say here. So let's just do this first. Watch and pay attention to what I mute and what I take out.
Oh, man, that bass drop. Oh, man, that bass drop. Oh, man, that bass drop.
So that is showing how literally just a little and the little vocal in the back going hey, like makes a huge difference to let you know that that's the hook. It's literally two little things, but when you put them shits together right, you can really tell the difference.
Oh, man, that bass drop. Oh, man, that bass drop. bass drop. Oh, but oh, but that bass drop. Oh, but that bass drop.
And this was showing you without the little affected layer and the pad layer. Even though they're low in volume, they make a huge difference because it literally gives just that little extra more layer, letting you know that that's the hook. So it's a huge difference without them. So yeah, that was that. So yeah, that's pretty much only things that I see that I mean, a lot of this stuff you could see. I mean, I could sit here and unmute and mute and do the effects forever here, but you get the idea. I'm sure we can get into the mixing from the start to the finish. But also, one thing I didn't touch on is if we go through, you'll see, like I said in the last one, panning means a lot. Some things are over to the right. Some things are over to the left. Some things are more centered. Some things are actually moving. So the main sound is over to the right. You can see all that right here in the left. You see it says R15. That one's over to the right 15. The little pad sound is to the right 6. The symbol, the main symbol, is in the center. But the second layer symbol, that ride, is all the way right 44. Again, it'll depend on the sample, the sounds that are the preset, or the instruments where it sits too already. But you just go by ear. Then this, which was the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, is over to the right 32, but it's got the ping pong delay, so it's moving back and forth on the delay. We've got the right 28 on this, the affected main sound. Even the trap clap is over to the right 7, even though usually you want those to be centered pretty good, but this sample was just a little bit off for this beat. It was, you know, it was moved a little bit, so I needed to move it to shift it right. The layer is still the same. The kick is usually, you want the kick to be directly in the middle. Do not left or right the kick at all. Always keep that centered. The same with the 808. Leave that centered. The hitter snare, right 22. That's just the little hits. This hi-hat one was left 40. This hi-hat one was right 28, but it has the pan on it, which makes it move. This little vocal is right 28. The little doom 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 was right 11. What is this? Oh, the little rising transition to that little sound, that was right 22. And then my tag itself is right 13. And that little main affected layered sound is centered because it didn't need to be moved because it's already panned up there. So yeah, that's just for example. Not many things are centered. Usually the only things that are centered all the way usually is like my kick and my 808. Everything else, even if it's just 2 or 3 to the left or right, I mean it's better than being centered. So that's enough of this project. go into the second folder where we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, get to the real deal, and which is, well, this has been real deal too. I'm sure you've learned a lot from this, and now you're familiar with the plugins though, and you're familiar with all that. So now in these videos and these next ones, I'm going to show you how I like to, you know, put everything to mix it, and we're going to be mixing from start to finish. So jump in that folder and let's get to it, baby.